Persuasive speech. Man, this is our last beer. It's 1:30 and I'm not even close to being done drinking yet. Hey man, it's already late. Can we just crash and go to bed? And plus, both of us are too intoxicated to go anywhere. Nah man, I'm not even tired yet, and I'm just gonna go drive down to the liquor store and buy a 6-pack. I'll be fine. I'll be back in a bit. And plus, the place is open till 2 now, so it's not like I'm doing anything wrong. But he did do something wrong that night, and he did make a bad decision. He chose to drive drunk after midnight and get more alcohol. Unfortunately, he didn't make it back to the house that night. Instead, he ended up at the hospital, and then he ended up at the morgue. Driving drunk is bad enough. This new law that has been passed has potential to cause an increase in accidents and deaths due to drinking and driving if not taken responsibly. I'm going to break it down into 3 main areas of this topic and discuss the difficulties and the harmful wrongdoings that I think we are making as a government with our alcohol laws. I will talk about restaurants, liquor stores, and bars selling till 2 a.m. Then we will talk about the recent alcohol laws on state parks, then conclude with how this will affect the minors drinking alcohol in their generation. My goal from this speech is to maybe influence how you feel and think from my opinions and my facts that I have collected. I hope after I am done sharing with you that you take from this speech our different thoughts or maybe some stronger opinions on how you feel about these changes. This affects everyone whether you think or not. Whether you drink or not, this affects you whether you drink or not. You could still be a victim. The first and probably the most crucial of all I will start about talking about is the 2 a.m. drinking rule. Many states have already passed this bill, which in 2011, that will extend the time that anyone who has any place that has a liquor license, whether it's a restaurant, a bar, or a store, will be able to sell alcohol to 2 a.m. versus 1 a.m. as it is now. In their defense, this is a way for places to make and earn more income and revenue from customers when they are able to sell longer. But is 1 hour really worth the amount of problems that can come from this? A local newspaper in Hudsonville, Texas states that they didn't have an increase of the number of people who were actually coming to the bar, but also people were not leaving as early either. They were staying the whole time. One of the first problems with this is the fact that, one, that if you still need to buy more alcohol, then chances are you are already intoxicated at this time and probably shouldn't be purchasing anymore. This can in no way decrease the amount of deaths that we have each year from alcohol-related accidents. People are going to be drinking later and driving home later and more intoxicated and are going to put themselves at risk, at risks of their lives. Why do we need alcohol sales to be open this late anyway? If you are planning on even drinking, wouldn't you plan on going and buying your beverages before midnight? After all this, to me, it seems like an excuse for bars to just make more money off of already intoxicated customers. But if that weren't bad enough, a new recent law has also just been passed to allow alcohol on state parks in Nebraska, which brings me to my second point. Alcohol has, up to this point, always been prohibited on state parks. Does that mean it has prevented it from happening? No. But has it kept it from the most part more under control? Yes. This law passing is going to cause a lot more problems than our state government sees yet. It is going to cause a lot more noise disturbances and be a bother to people who come out to expect just a little peace and quiet. State parks and reservoirs are sanctioned places where alcohol has never really been needed to have a good time. If this law is worthy enough to be passed, then they might as well make it legal to drink in a library or the zoo or other places where families go and spend their days or weekends. With this, a lot of these parks have lakes, which means people will bring boats. If drinking and driving on a vehicle isn't safe, then drinking and driving on a boat can't be much better. Someone could get knocked out or knocked off into the water and be drowning and not be able to save themselves, or others might not be able to pay attention and notice the problem at hand. With keeping this in mind with the parks, it brings me to my final main point, and that's how it's going to affect the minors. MIP, MIC. We all know people or have seen or heard of people getting in trouble for this. what we have talked about so far with the 2 a.m. law and the state park law are both signs, are bad influences and instigators toward the minor population's health. Now that it is okay to buy alcohol later and to be able to do it on state parks, this will make it easier for youth to have the idea to try to get away with it easier. When the state parks don't allow alcohol, it's prevented a lot more people from doing it because of the thought of getting caught on a state park. Now it will just be the same place as if they got caught at a party. Now that I've discussed how this law affects people in our states, whether they drink or not, I hope that my views of this law have persuaded you to feel different about this law. I covered the purchases of alcohol time, drinking on state parks, and how it will affect the minor generation. Thank you for listening, and when this law comes into effect, make the right decision and keep everyone safe.